Right, so those of you that are logged in, logged on, thank you for joining us on the eMpTy podcast. Please do share the live. Share it with someone who's new. Share it with someone who's new, who has some interesting points. This week is going to be a very, very interesting podcast. So, welcome to the eMpTy podcast. Myself, Mr. Wileycat DJ, and to my right, I have...
Man like citrus. yeah.
And next to Citrus, we have...
Yaga yo, yo.
Took too long.
It's a citrus in the house and we're running the
I
show.
purposely tried to cut him as well.
All right.
Next to him, we have...
Buddy in the building, a.k.a. The Truth.
And next to me, we have...
Sirelli, ever so slightly broken and a little bit lick right now.
Only a little bit. So, this week, this is so strange, you know. We actually was going to be having the podcast talking about living with partners. That's what we were preparing ourselves with. That will be an upcoming podcast.
I really want to do that, you know?
Yeah, I know. But then there was a very important thing that happened this week. Very interesting thing that happened this week. That has been
What about the partners thing? Can't we go back to the partners thing? I want that.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe we can. It might even segue itself in.
Next week.
But I think that's something to be covering for next week. So for those of you that are on now, make sure you're here next week. Next week we will be talking about living with your partners. But this week is the fallout from Hairgate.
What's Hairgate? No.
Hairgate.
What's Hairgate?
Hairgate. Hairgate is the situation.
Don't step to the back, the ball people, them, you know. I'm ready for you, you know.
Yeah, because you know what? You started this Hairgate thing. I mean,
Yes,
I live under a rock. I don't know.
So for those of you who have been living under a rock like Buddy has been, you may not have clocked on that there's been a very interesting, very sparked a whole lot of conversation. Situation that happened in a hair shop in Peckham. So the long and short of it is, and I don't want to set the scene and have to do the whole podcast all about the story of it, but a young lady went to a shop, wanted to exchange or refund an item she bought, which was some hair, which she says was damaged. Well, we are told it was damaged. We haven't been, as far as I'm aware, I don't believe she's been spoken to. I know there's been representatives of hers speaking. I don't believe she's actually said directly what happened. The owner has, or the shop has, but she hasn't. Then became argument with the hair, because with the owner of the shop, because they weren't going to be exchanging the hair. She now went to go and take some hair to exchange. She tried to leave with the hair she picked up. When she tried to leave with the hair she picked up, there was a whole load of commotion. I believe she was trying to leave the store. The man tried to stop her from leaving the store, and then there was a altercation. He ended up grabbing her, I believe.
And she hit him with a basket.
She hit me with a basket.
Yeah,
There's a
basket
whole
gate.
commotion.
I said basket game.
Yeah, well, it was a shopping basket or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, she lick him good, you know.
Yeah, really. But
Basket
then,
bracking too.
but the fallout of it, when I say the fallout of it, it's not necessarily, and this is why I don't really want to, we're going to touch on what happened, but it's the fallout of what's happened since then. So from that there was a protest. The shop didn't open the following day, or no, there was a protest, I think, the day after, because it happened, I believe, on Monday, and the protest, I believe, was on Wednesday, or was it on Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah. So the protest was outside the shop, loads, and I reckon from what I've seen on the videos, there has to have been at least around about 150, 200 people there.
Yeah.
Outside this one shop. The shop owner couldn't open the shop, and then it became a whole discussion about who sells black hair products, where you should be putting your money. Then it's become a whole load of things. Then you've had the situation of women being assaulted, how that should be handled. It's a whole broad conversation. So have we all seen the video?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Have you seen it, buddy?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So what's your take on visually what you saw? What was your take? Let me start with Buddy.
My take.
Your take.
Somebody went into a shop, tried to steal something. Take something that wasn't paid for, so it was stolen. It would have been stolen. And basically, the shop owner then turned and said to himself that he's not letting her out. He's going to report it to the police. He's going to stop him from leaving the shop, which he did, or tried to restrain him. He's then been hit. He's then, for a brief second, lost a little bit of control.
Defended himself.
He lost a little bit of control because at first he was just restraining. Lost a little bit of control for a brief second, released, and then turned and continued to restrain.
I challenge you. Defending himself. She did bust his head with a trolley, with a basket.
Yeah, no. So, sorry. I actually agree with you. He lost control because at one point he was in full control and he was restraining her from leaving his premises.
But then his head got licked with a basket.
Then she licked him with the thing. He grabbed her a bit by her neck, which is what I suppose a little bit of the uproar is about. However, he didn't even squeeze because she could still talk. He didn't squeeze. He let go.
No, you heard a little. You hear it. You hear it.
He didn't squeeze. Not to the point where if somebody lick
he didn't make her pass out, but you definitely hear her do that little thing where you.
But she licked him till the thing broke.
Bruv, I'm just trying to call it out as it was from what I saw.
Yeah.
'Cause I had the volume full and air, you know when you put in the headphones so you can hear every detail in the background. So you hear her swearing, you hear her carrying on, you hear the basket lick his head, you hear the basket cracking and falling to bits. Then you hear him, as you say, lose it, stroke, defend himself, because if he goes to court, that's what he's going to call it, and he's going to say it's self-defense. She licked me, I retaliated. My hands was in that vicinity, that's what he did. Now, I'm not, at no point am I saying it's right or wrong. I'm just trying to lay the facts of what happened as we saw it. Well, as I've seen it.
Have you seen it? Yeah. Okay.
He strangled her. You heard that for the, there was...
What 2.5...
It doesn't matter if it's 0.1 of a millisecond, I heard it. And if you watch the video, you'll hear it as well.
Just to clarify, the point of when his hands is on around her throat, she's already swung back before then.
Yeah, so she swung back.
No, sorry. No, wait, I've got it wrong. His hands around her throat before she swung backwards. So his hand is around her throat.
No. I think he had one hand, to be fair, one hand on the back, up there, and the other one probably holding the hand. When she swung the thing back, then she tried to pull away, so his hand then came round and then basically pulled her to one side. That's from my recollection on it.
Okay.
I mean, we're doing semantics, innit?
We are, but I'm just trying to give detail for...
But with the semantics, it's not even needed. Because for me, and I'm waiting to get onto this, because for me, I don't think he was in the wrong for doing anything he's done.
For strangling her?
But she come into the shop, she's tried to steal. All right, he's turned and said, I'm going to call the police. He called the police, all right, because you see him on the CCTV, he actually calls the police, all right. He then tries to stop her from leaving because she's now leaving with his goods. This is the part where it's a bit shady in the eyes of the law, all right. But he stops her from leaving the property, all right. He then turns and says to himself, he's now trying to push her back to say whatever, and then she hits him with the basket. Now, there's so many videos that are out there of so many different things that have happened where people have hit people, all right, and it's not caused as much of an uproar, all right. Prime example for you guys is about a week or 2 weeks ago. There was a woman that was hit with a brick. Black woman hit with a brick because she didn't want to give her number to another guy, all right. It was in America, and there was all these other brothers that were standing around. They just watched her get hit in the brick. She's got a massive lump in her face, all right? Went to hospital, whatever else not. She was there screaming, look, all the brothers, no one did nothing. No one cared. Not in a bad way, but no one, there was not so much of an uproar, all right, as the one that we're putting up now, because an Asian brother has now picked himself up and put his hands on a black woman, and it's now caused a big, massive scene.
Just because there's conflicting reports about that brick story, that it's not... And I don't. That it's not true representation of what happened. There's now stories coming out that she's faked her injuries or something. There's a whole debate on that.
Fair enough.
There's a whole debate on that.
But even if
let's not mix it. But I get your point.
But what it is there's other videos.
There's other things to be.
We've all seen other videos where there's been a man just lick down a woman. A man just turned and say what, and just punch up a woman, and nobody said nothing. No uproar. You know what I mean? But now all of a sudden, Asian brothers now try to see you're coming into my place of business, all right? And you're going to try and take something from my shop, and I'm now restraining you. I get licked in the face with a basket, all right? And I was supposed to go, oh, no worries, and we continue just trying to restrain you. If he lost his cool for a split second to say, yo, what you doing? Like, oh, fling you down. You know what I mean? He could have done a whole lot worse.
Okay.
He done that, and he
Okay.
restrained her. All right, I feel to myself, he's not in the wrong for what he did.
Okay.
In my
Citrus,
Yep.
what's your take on what you've seen?
I don't know. I've watched this video so many times. There's been debates in the MT podcast group. Join it if you can. There have been lots of different types of conversations about it. And my stance isn't too dissimilar from Buddy's. But there's the incident itself, I don't really care about as much. I know it sounds bad.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm more focused and interested in is the power level.
Clarification.
Yeah.
So, if you think about who holds the power and where are you seen. So what I'm saying is, if you was to rank everyone by race and by sexuality and by gender in a row,
Mm-hmm.
you think, where does the black woman rank in compared to the Asian man? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this altercation has taken place, and someone that ranks here versus someone that ranks there,
Mm-hmm.
this weren't meant to happen. This is why there's an uproar.
So explain more about this ranking. What do you mean by ranking? I don't quite understand.
So if the person in the shop was a black man and the exact same thing happened, you wouldn't see the level of uproar.
Oh, so you're saying perceived ranking. So
Yeah.
when he looked at her, what he saw as a threat or as equal, or okay,
Right.
I'm with you.
So
I'm with you.
the power level. Do you know what I mean? Or if it was a white female.
But isn't that in every incident?
Maybe or maybe not, but this incident has highlighted it for me.
Okay.
So I'm like, Now, firstly, we have to defend our queens. But we can't stand and defend nonsense. So we have to be clear and pragmatic in our approach to whatever we're going to do when we see certain things take place.
So what she done? Did you think that's nonsense?
So I don't know if you've seen, as far as I'm aware, there's 3 CCTV videos and the main video. On watching the CCTV videos, you see her speaking to the guy behind.
So these are the
her.
other videos that may not have been posted.
Circulated as
Okay,
much.
give us a little thing on what you
So
said.
when she walks into the shop, you can see her place the hair down.
Oh, so this is like the first interaction
Yeah,
with him.
talking
Okay.
to the guy behind the counter. And as she's talking, she's getting a bit more animated. You can see him like pushing his hands out, like not touching her or anything, like to say like no refund.
So you can't hear anything.
You can't
This
hear
is-
anything. You have to just
It's just visual.
Yeah.
visuals. Yeah.
But from the interaction, you can see it's calm.
and then
they just
but it starts to get
to heat
irate.
up. Okay.
Then she just slams her hand down, turns around and walks over to wherever the hair is, and you see her picking up the hair.
So, question. Obviously, I'm just trying to get clarity on the videos and stuff like that for those who haven't seen it. When she comes into the shop originally, does her body language, because as you say you can't hear anything, does her body language display a threatening? Does it display a forthcoming? Does it display anger? What's the
No,
just your personal?
it just looks like
just a
someone
normal
walked into a
cast.
shop.
Okay.
But so if you put my original answer aside about the power, you then think about, would you conduct yourself like this in a different establishment if it was a different product in a different location? So once again, the perception of power. Because this is the little man over there who owns the black hair shop, I'm just going to go in there and rough him up. And I'm going to get what I want.
So, and you're saying this now from the
other
point
side.
of view. Right, from the woman's point of view.
From the other
It's a
point
corner
of view.
shop, I can go there and rough him up, take whatever
I want and
bop
bop.
it. Okay.
Because what's he going to do? Nothing. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I'm totally with you, bro.
So if you look at it from perceptions of power, then you think to yourself, he's acted a certain way, perception of power. She's acted a certain way, perception of power. Us observing it, we're now going to use our power to influence whatever happens next. So then you've got his perception, her perception, and then the internet's perception, and then whatever come the backlash off the back of that. Now, one thing that I thought was interesting is was the conversation regarding all of these major these major hair shops that sell black hair products are owned by Asian families, for example, and saying we shouldn't shop there, we should shop in our own shops.
That's a whole other podcast.
No, we're going to come to that point.
We're gonna,
We're gonna come to that,
I think we need to touch
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
going to come to that point, definitely.
Now, what I thought was interesting is on the back of that, certain influencers and do you know what I mean?
Content
Voices
makers, etc.
have turned around and said, here are a list of black-owned black hair product shops.
Distributors.
Right? And they sent a few out, which I thought was amazing. Where I'm struggling is why does it take Incident X to spark a backlash to support these
Businesses.
businesses
Okay, got you.
that are there? Once again, perception of power.
Because there's no community.
We're going to, no, there's a whole load. to unpack.
That was just me throwing in a little.
No, but you say this, right?
What?
But for example, Pax, I mean, it's Mr. Pax or whatever it is, the one, the green one, right? Like, that's just, I see it everywhere, all right? It's like going to McDonald's.
28 stores.
But it's like going to McDonald's in London,
They
right?
have 28
And
stores.
it's not just London.
Well, I'm going by what I've seen, innit? All right?
But let's not
So-
call the name too much. But that particular brand has
Yeah.
loads of branches.
Loads of branches, and it's like I said, it's McDonald's. It's there. It's everywhere. I can see it. I know the brand. So when you're saying about these other brands, how well?
Wait, I'm going to help you out. So one of the owners' impacts is a Jamaican man. He's a 5th shareholder. Were you aware of this?
No, but if you turned and said to me, one of the owners in McDonald's is a black man, and
No.
he's a
No.
shareholder,
No,
I wouldn't know,
No.
nor would I care.
No.
Like,
See, and that's why people shop in these shops.
no, but no.
When I talk about
no.
position of power, this is what I'm talking about.
Because you're making
one
it
of the
a colour
conversations. No, one of the conversations is about. Are you going to go somewhere for convenience?
Yeah.
Or are you going to go somewhere to support your
them.
own?
We're going to come to that.
So,
yeah,
I know I'm mashing up the whole thing.
not at all.
You and your slow thing, man. Let's just run with the thing.
No. Do you know
Everything
what?
is. I'm coming.
No. The reason why
come.
The reason maybe so. The reason why I'm saying that is there's been some comments in the chat.
Sorry. Yeah.
Shouts out to Debbie Debs 91. She says, hello, she didn't come in to steal. She came in for a refund and took the item she was exchanging it for from what was told. And Bun Heidi Bless Jones says she hit him in the face first before she hit him with a basket. And then she also says a physical altercation started by her was not warranted. Neither was the shop owner's actions. That round the neck grab was definitely a huge violation. Now, I'll say it because I work in a frontline position.
So how many people have you strangled?
Bare people.
Here's the thing. So I work in a
Not on
frontline.
CCTV.
I work in a frontline position. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I get threatened a lot at work by people who, if they saw me on road, would not even think twice to make that sort of threat.
Yeah.
So
Now,
position of power, Citrus was saying.
Yes, because they believe as the consumer, they have a position of power to do that. Now, my take on that is I can't react. I can't meet them at their level.
Because it's not your shop.
One, it's not my shop, but two, also, the position of power and authority is that I can't be meeting them at that level. I can't react. So don't forget, I've also done door work. So in door work, if you really wanted to, I don't want to say violate people, but respond in kind, you could do so.
Persuade them gently.
But the whole point of that sort of scenario is that what you would try and do is you would try and maintain control of the situation, keep yourself out from putting yourself in a position where you're now going to be perceived as the aggressor, as the person who's violent, as whatever. And this is when anybody says lost control, I can understand what he's talking about, because there's a point where I believe she's trying to leave the shop and his hands are up. And in any sort of defense training, they always say to you, keep your hands up, because your hands up are a sign of you not being aggressive. Where it all goes wrong is where his hand touches her. You cannot touch somebody.
Okay.
And that's where it all, for me, went
He
left.
only touched her after she'd boxed him.
No. 1 second.
No, when she was trying to leave. When she was trying to leave with the
No,
product.
He
Citrus,
stood
Citrus.
with his hands up.
Citrus.
And when she...
I know, I hear what you're saying, but I know the point you're referencing, but it was after. What it was, his hands were up doing that defensive thing, but it's not that he didn't, I can't say he intentionally or didn't intentionally, but his hand went onto her when he was doing this.
When she was trying to leave.
No. We have to be fair. She wasn't standing there and he just went and pushed her.
No, she was trying to
tries
leave.
to walk out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's saying, no.
No, I'm agreeing with you. No,
So
I'm agreeing with you.
Where his hands were, he weren't approaching her.
It weren't like he was doing some aggressive
Right.
whatever. No, I'm
No,
agreeing
he
with
wasn't.
you. I'm agreeing
We have
with
to
you
be
on
fair,
that.
yeah.
I'm agreeing, but the issue is, once your hand goes on somebody could, we've all been there, innit?
I get it, it's assault.
If you're
Don't
hyped,
touch me.
if someone touches you, what, you
Don't
touching
touch
me,
me.
bruv? And it becomes something else. And if you look at the scenario, I'm not saying that justified, not justified, is for others to make their view on it. My particular take, though, is that if I'm in that high-end environment and your hand touches me in that way and you're doing whatever and we're in a high-end environment, the likelihood is I'm not going to take it as an accident. I may take it as an aggressive act.
And he did frog march her back into the shop.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty. Let's knock off all this kumbaya. She came into the shop. Yeah, let's deal with the heavy facts, not to the detail, but just as it is, because we won't know exactly. She came into the shop with a product that she either purchased. She was either unhappy with it or she wanted to change it. So there was something wrong with this particular item. We don't know if she used it and it wasn't the one she wanted or whatever the case may be. But whatever it was, she was prepared to put it there and take something else. So first of all, it wasn't a case of she wanted her money back. She wanted an exchange. She wanted a different product.
Okay.
That much we know. Yeah?
How we don't know that.
Because she went for another hair product. She went for the same...
She said, can I have my money back? No. Can I have my money back? No. Can I have my money back? No.
So
I'm
why
going to go
would-
and take something to the value.
So why would you not take what you've got already?
Can I have my money back? He says no. If you don't give my money back, I'm going to go get more.
Yeah, but you brought...
So you don't know. You don't know.
No, but Citrus, be fair. If you buy that
No,
bottle
no,
of
no,
drink...
no.
Hold on, hear me out. You buy that bottle of
You
drink.
buy a cup of coffee, sip it, and then say, yo,
I don't want this.
I don't want that.
And then you go and get another cup of coffee. You don't take the coffee you've got to say, all right, you're not exchanging it, fine. I'm taking my thing and going.
So can you...
She
so
leaves that one.
As the shop owner, can he now resell the coffee?
No.
Is there a policy
No, but this is
saying
what I'm saying.
we don't do refunds,
So she's
we
left
don't
that
do
one there
exchange?
and gone to take whatever she's gone to get. That.
Right.
She doesn't want this one no more.
Right.
She's going to get something else. Yeah?
Right.
She goes to leave. He sees what kind of attitude and
So,
where...
I'm just going to pause you there. This is the point Buddy's saying. It's now theft.
Yeah, fine. He sees that. He goes round. He was going to go and follow her. He comes back round, picks up his phone.
He picks the phone and walks to the door.
Walks to the door because he obviously knows that it's not theft until you try to leave the store. Because if you're in the store with my thing and you're walking around, it's not, you're in my store. Once you leave without paying, that's where it becomes theft. So he goes to the front door. You can see him calling or texting someone, whatever he's doing to interject the situation. She comes to leave. He then gives the hands up, as you say, the riot stand, let's call it that for now, where you can't leave, but I'm not going to make you feel that I'm trying to grab you. I'm just saying you can't leave with my thing. Our altercation kicks off there. Be it may, she tries to leave, he tries to stop her, or he tries to pull a product, whatever it is. Now, I personally think he's on, you're not taking... At that point, for me, where he was wrong is, if you're taking your product from her, you take your product. Yeah? She's trying to steal your thing, you take your thing back. Once you start to get physical with the person themselves, then that's a different kind of situation that you're bringing. Now, again, position of power, as a big male, I'm not even going to say anything to do with black, white, or whatever. As a big male, you're physically stronger than this woman. There was no need for him to drag her back into the shop.
Listen.
Hold on.
But
He's dragged her back into the shop. It's my shop, I want you to give me my things, and I want you to leave. That would be my view on this. You don't want to... I don't want this.
Who said that's not what he was trying to do?
No, if you look at the video, he brings her back to the shop.
He brings her back in.
But you don't know what conversation took place at the door.
And you're also not...
And you know what?
One second. You're also not aware. If he's taking this, he's walking out with it, and I go, give it back to me, rack up my... Now it's not worth nothing. Now we might as well just dash it in the bin. Because
But
you now mash up my
holding
things.
this person and the woman to try and bring back to do what? What? To put her to sit down in the corner like a little kid?
No,
Or
no,
to
give
tell her,
him my stuff and you can go.
So you take my thing. So you take your thing. So
I'm gonna-
it sounds petty,
Nah.
but it should have been that
All right,
for
make
me.
this mash up.
Ain't nobody coming in your shop.
Before we go to your shop,
Make this my shop. You come in there.
Yeah, go on.
You come in there. You buy yourself. I don't know what shop. What shop have I got?
You got alcohol shop.
Oh,
100%.
That's
Matty.
gonna be-
100%.
Coming off the
That's
shelf.
what this should be saying.
Off the shelf,
It's
bro.
off license.
It was straight in my heart.
The diplomatico.
Off the shelf, and you made the clicks. You know when you bust the thing and
Oh,
it
they
clicks.
bust
It clicks.
And then she brings it back.
Look. Jay is scratching his forehead.
He's twitching,
It
he's twitching.
clicks.
And then she
And
says,
she brings it back.
No.
This doesn't taste good.
It tastes funny.
This is fake. This is not the real Ray. This is fake Ray.
fake Ray.
So I now want a bottle of Chairman's.
But why is 2/3 of it gone? And wait.
you can't take
And
this
now, can I have my money back? No, you busted the thing. I can't now resell this.
And it says on the receipt,
No refunds,
refunds.
no exchange.
But
And then
if you bust the bottle.
you say, "Alright then, dickhead," walk off, take a next one off the shelf, and you're gonna walk past me like, "I told you, you're," and I'm gonna be like, "I'm not
You know
allowed
when
to
you
touch
see
you.
WWE?
I'm not allowed to touch you. Can you put it back, please? Please put it back."
There's-
And then you're gonna walk past me like to say, "I know nothing." No, we're all on the video. All of us are going viral. Everyone is viral. The woman recording's gone viral. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, buddies come running through the shop. Everyone's going viral.
Don't know what's going on.
In this particular moment. And I mean, I know I'm making a bit light of the situation, but what it comes down to, as I said, it's about position of power. And I don't know the woman in, so I don't want to talk like that, but the establishment definitely adds to the etiquette of the...
she wouldn't do that in Harrods.
Right. It
Call it
adds
as
to
it
the
is, bro.
etiquette
Call
of
it
the
as it is.
individual.
So we're going on another stance.
Don't touch
And
my
I
mum.
apologise. I apologise why, because I know you're dying to get
Not
into the
even that.
comments.
There's a lot going on in the chat, and I don't want us to lose.
No, and we're
the
going to come
the
back
point
to it,
of what
but just
people
off
are
the
saying.
point that Citrus just made. So you're saying that wouldn't happen
We
in
heard the
Harrods.
clicks.
Huh?
When we opened the bottle, we heard the clicks.
No, the Harrods bit, where you're
Oh.
saying it wouldn't happen in Harrods. And I'm thinking to myself, is that now saying that because it's the Asian man, it's corner shop or whatever else not, we're sitting there saying to ourselves, well, yeah, we're going to violate like that. You know what I mean? Because, but then, so it works in both ways. And
No, but this is the point he made from the start, that when you look at it from a position of power from both ways, she looked at it like, I'm going to come here and intimidate you, and because I'm unhappy. Because we don't actually know if she was in the right or if she was in the wrong. All we do know is that she came there with a product that she wasn't happy with, and then she said, Bears, I don't want this no more. You're not going to refund it, so I'm going to go and take something else that I do want.
Do you know what? You know what this boils down to as well. And as soon as I finish, you can go into it. All right. But this also boils down to sometimes that we don't know the right ways to put our points across. Because I'm not saying that
Communication.
I'm not saying that she's not, like you said, she could be right in what she's what in her actions when she's saying, "Oh, look, the product was wrong. You need to refund me." Now, whereas the best way I can put it is the working class are ourselves and people.
I'm a bum, bro.
No. When I say call it anything below the working class. So, working class and below. All right, will attack this situation in a sense of the way that she's attacked it.
Totally disagree.
No, wait. Let me finish.
Because but straight away you're saying because I'm not working class, I don't know how to carry myself.
No. You're not listening to me. You never let me finish. That's what I keep trying to say to you. All right, the working class and below. All right, but when you're talking about the upper class, we'll turn and say, you know what? I'm gonna write to Ofcom, blah 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 blah, and I'm gonna.
Says Ofcom, buddy kills
No,
me,
I'm
like.
just saying, whoever it is.
Hello, EE. They tried to steal my hair. Nobody just budging everything
No,
up.
but I'm saying to you, they know what I'm trying to. What my point is. No, but this is exactly my point.
Ofcom is for broadcasting, bro.
But hold on, which is exactly,
go on.
which is exactly my point. The people of the higher escalates, they know.
Trading standards.
They know, this is
train
who I'm going to go
standards,
to. This is who I'm going to talk to. When one time when you got pulled over, he's like, talk to Officer James.
One second,
really.
Wait, hold on. But what Citrus is saying is a position of power in the sense of she may know that she can't go to them because she's wrong.
All right, really? Can I finish, please?
Go on.
All right.
Go on.
Like, when we was there with Citrus turned and said to us, "Oh yeah, let me mention Officer James Brown, blah blah," because he knew his people that he can talk to. All of a sudden, Officer turned and said, "Whoa. Well, you know Constable, blah blah. Yeah, I know him. Person, do you want me to phone him? Here's his number. Rah. All right." Coward right the way down because he knew what to say. Me in that same situation, I don't know no Constable, rah. I'm just going with, yeah. we was just doing this. I don't know. And all of a sudden, we would have been arrested. Tell me I'm lying.
No.
Because he knew what to say. Now the thing is, as the people at that height or wherever they are in the bracket, they know what to say. They will turn and say, well, I'm going to speak to blah blah blah, and I'm going to get this blah person, and they know how to carry themselves. We at that level, we sometimes don't know how to carry ourselves, so we turn and say, what are we going to do? I'm going to punch him in his face. I'm going to take it.
Yeah,
So,
go on.
let me jump into the chat. So, whole load has been said in the chat. So, Mr. Alex A3 said he's a shopkeeper, not an SIA badge holder. He's trained to sell, not to be a doorman. Debbie Deb says, this is quite a key, this is why I was trying to jump on. It's a very important point she's made here. He also said in an interview that he couldn't give the refund, but out of ego... Could have. Is that could have? Yeah, could have given the refund. But out of ego, he didn't give it based on her shouting at him. Mr. Alex also says that he's allowed, same would happen in Primark. And the question was asked about if there was a refund policy, and the receipt says no refunds, no exchanges. This is the point I was trying to get to. Because when you go to any sort of establishment, and we've all, yeah, I believe we've all worked in retail, yeah? We've all dealt with, no, policy is this, policy is this. Okay, let me speak to your manager. The manager comes down, the manager breaks the policy. Because the policy is there, but the policy is not law. The most important thing is to try and keep the customer that you're dealing with. And you will be vexed as the person serving, because you're saying, yeah, but I'm following the guidelines. But then they will now go above you and breach that. If he's in the position where he could make the decision to have made that exchange or whatever, if he's saying he could have given the refund, I didn't even know that he said that. If he's saying he could have given the refund, that tells me there was something there that he could have done that, and she was in a position of being maybe sort of right to say, you know what, actually, I'm in the right here. Yes, your policy says whatever, but this is faulty. He was in a position where he could have given it. If he's saying he could have given it, it means that he acknowledges that she has got some semblance of a point there.
It doesn't mean that.
If you're saying that, I believe you must say that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be saying that at all. It means certainly not in an interview.
Okay, so there's a couple things with that. Number one, as much as he said that, I don't believe him.
100%.
I think that this is a PR. It's a PR position.
Yeah, he's been put on the news now. He's been highlighted.
Yeah,
he's under pressure. He's going to say whatever he needs to say.
You have to be able to say it. Now, once again, it's my shop.
Yep.
On my receipt, it says no refunds, no returns. You've come in here blazing, shouting, arguing, slamming your hand down, doing whatever else.
With an open pack of whatever it is.
With an open pack of product that I now can't resell. Because imagine it's this. Imagine it's a face.
And hair products are expensive.
Right. Imagine it's a. All right. So yeah. Like I ain't got no big beard. Right. Imagine it's a beard. Imagine a beard extension. Right?
Trying to come for us.
They give. I go and buy a beard extension, and it's got breadcrumbs in it. Why? Because Buddy used it over the weekend. Right. Got hungry. Got breadcrumbs in it. Put it back in the pack. Put it back to the shop.
Hygiene reasons, you just can't
and
do
then
those
I
things.
went into the shop. Open the thing, it smells like chicken wings, it's got breadcrumbs in it, I'm now vexed. Yeah? From the consumer's point of view. Not the shopkeeper that gave Buddy the refund, from the next consumer. So, in theory, this product now can't really be resold.
We both worked in retail. How many times, when we was in Oxford Street, did...
bikinis and knickers.
Shoes. They bring the shoes back,
and the bottom scuffed.
Yeah. Bought it on Friday, went out Friday night and bringing it back to work, bringing it to refund on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's makeup on the collar.
On the collar, yeah.
The shoe bottom,
I've
they've
never
put
worn it.
sellotape.
Yeah.
You smell it and it smells like a pub.
Yeah, it stinks. But anyway, so from this, there's so many avenues. However,
sorry for exposing you lot.
Coming back to Buddy's point, I don't agree how he worded it. But what he said, there is a point that lives in the middle. If the presentation of I need to get a refund or my money back was handled in a different way, in theory, his admission in the interview says you probably could have got the refund.
Or at least an exchange.
Or an exchange or a credit note. Something. This is what he's saying. I could have done it, but my ego got in the way. Why? Think about position of power, what I mentioned.
Because she came with
and probably brought an energy that he thought, you've come into my shop and now you're shouting at me about something you've purchased. So, am I going to have it?
and I can't resell it. So you're now shouting at me and telling me to lose money, but you're
because in his mind it could be
your error. You
you've
just bought
done
the wrong
whatever
thing.
you've done, and now trying to bring you got crumbs in the bed. It's not making no sense. Do you get what I mean? So they're and I know we're using the small little isms and schisms to try and navigate around this, but it plays into a bigger picture. It does play into the point as much as he's good. Sometimes I'm gonna put you on that side, you know that.
No,
But his point was right.
The best side. I don't know. I don't know why he's saying that.
Upgrading life, bro. This is Manhattan right over here.
Go on.
So the point that he's making to turn around and say, if she knew how to articulate herself in a way, the shopkeeper has admitted he would have given the refund. That's the bottom line.
And everything else
now falls by the wayside.
How many times have you had people come to you, and I've done it myself, I know you've definitely done it, you know you're at fault, but you approach the situation humbly, you approach it with respect.
Yeah, we got these little cups. I said a sip of nothing, but it's all right.
No, go on.
And when you approach the situation, because of your demeanor, your tone, your respect, you've got the result that you wanted at the end. Be it may asking for a discount, be it may trying to get a refund when you shouldn't, or whatever it is. Once you come with the right attitude, I'm not saying it works all the time, but there are courses and people you can go to that show you how to communicate with people and how to disarm people. And I personally think if she had come with that energy, she would have got, not necessarily what she wanted, but she would have got a fairer balance between what happened.
So here's the problem we got with that though. We're going on the assumption, because we don't know.
Absolutely right.
We haven't got her side of the story. We've only got various bits of information. We're going on the assumption that she's come back and she's been on some annoyed, frustrated flex because of what she bought was damaged or whatever. But on the flip side of that, if I buy something brand new and it's damaged, I'm going to have an element of frustration with it. So we can't expect... What you're saying is right if you think you're in the wrong. But if you don't believe you're in it, if the only thing that's in the wrong is the policy that says on the receipt, you know what, no exchange, no refunds, no whatever, are you really going to approach them and say, you know what, oh, please, I bought this. If you've bought something and it's damaged and it's wrong, are you going to go with that sort of energy? Buddy.
Right. I don't know if I should actually say the name of the
No, you
brand.
can't. Don't name any establishment. Yeah, please.
But a restaurant that we went to in Dubai, and we got a massive discount off of our bill. Why did we get that discount? Citrus.
Hell's Kitchen.
All right, well, we weren't saying the restaurant, but yeah.
No, because we're not saying nothing that's not true. We're not making allegations.
Yeah.
So
Hold on. Why did we get that discount? And what was the first thing? Because they did the offer. They offered a discount at the beginning, all right, which was by everybody else in the room. Standard. It was fine. Let's just walk around. We just got 15% off, and they gave us our meal thing, and they gave us a drink, and they gave us a dessert. Let's go now.
So why did you get the discount?
Why did we get the discount?
Hair in the food? It was hair in it.
Staple.
No, the staple.
Staple, that's it, yeah. So brains.
Staple.
Yeah, so
we ordered a tomahawk.
We got a tomahawk.
Yep.
Steak.
And literally, second mouthful, I just saw something shiny in the plate. I'm like, what's that? It was a staple. So, and the thing is, you know, you have to wait for your food ages.
Yep.
You're hungry. The rest of the foods come. This has come last. There's a staple in it.
Mashed potatoes was banging.
Banging in.
Okay. Yep.
Sent the steak back. They was like, what do you want us to do? So can you make another one? As they're making the other one, the other two people eating, shout goes out to Ghost and man like Buddy.
Birthday Bud. It was Birthday Bud as well.
And
just add into that.
so they had finished their food.
Okay.
Sitting there like
And by the time they finished their food,
We're sitting there long belly.
we're waiting, and then the steak comes out.
Okay.
So then we
At
eat the
least
steak.
35 to 40 minutes.
So then when it's time to eat the steak, it's like, I don't want it. Do you know what I mean?
ate it anyway though.
So then they've turned around and said, do you know what? We'll just give you a 15% off, blah, 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 blah. So we sat there, and then I made them do all the calculations and everything. When they finished, I turned around and said, can you call the manager over, please? Thank you for your offer. However, how are you charging me for a product that's, I just ran through the list. I said, my boy's here, his birthday, blah, blah, blah. Flown all the way from England. This is the reputation.
So, sisters, you were in right, yeah? You were in a position of power.
No. This is why I wanted to get to the end of it, because I think it's slightly...
But he knew...
But no, hold on. But his tone, forget about what he knew. Your tone was respectable throughout the whole thing?
Yes, yeah.
Even though you're in a position of
I think that's
power?
different. Go on, but I think that's totally different. Go on. Continue, because I want to get to the end of it. I think it's totally different.
Right, he's fidgeting,
Okay,
so go on.
So the point that Buddy's raising is that even though they made a gesture,
Yep.
I didn't accept it. I was like, this isn't good enough. So furthermore, take all of the food off. Do you know what I mean? We're willing to pay for maybe 1 or 2 drinks and whatever else it was. However, take everything off the bill. And then what do you call him? The
Head chef?
front of house?
Yep.
The guy from front of house, he just looked at it and he was just like, I'm going to come back. He's gone away from maybe a £400 bill, that's £67.22, please.
Still got the bill at my house.
Do you know what I mean? So it was one of those situations where ordinarily we potentially would have paid the originally discounted amount.
Because if you don't know what you're saying.
But because it was handled in a certain way, not only did we get the discount, we also got do you know what I mean? We didn't pay for 85% of the food.
And all of that was achieved. All of that was achieved with a very calm, relaxed, fairly stress-free.
I think that's totally different.
It's not. What the point is, and you're missing the point, Wiley. And the point is, a normal person doesn't know what to say.
Totally different.
I sit there, you sit there, and they go, "Here's your 15% off." I'm like, "Oh, that was great." And we got a meal, and they gave us some cake, and they did this. This is great. I had a great night. It's fine. You know, I mean, the steak was amazing. It's great. Let's just go home now. He sat there and said, "1 second, I know a bit more." And because he knows how to articulate himself in the way that he knew how to articulate himself, he's now turned and said,
the bigger discount.
He's able to now turn and said, "1 second,
I understand
15%. I got 75%.
I understand all of that.
Right.
I just don't agree with that being relatable to this, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you the reason why there's a big difference there. You've gone to the establishment and they've admitted something is wrong here, and it's their fault. Regardless of whatever discount they're giving, whether it's a bigger discount, a smaller discount, they were willing to make a shift in whatever the situation was, because they've acknowledged, admitted, you know what, we've got a problem here, it's our doing, we're going to try and rectify that problem. She's come into the shop with her product that is damaged, and the damaged goods that she's saying she wants to get rectified or whatever, regardless of whether he's saying he would do the refund or not, she's walked in there with that damaged goods. She's not in a position of power like you were as the customers to say, you know what, actually, you know what, nah, I ain't paying full price for this. No, because reputationally, it would be worse for them if you now was to put this on Instagram and take the picture, whatever, because then the steak is there with a staple in it. They have to address that. But there's no reputational... If she walks into the shop and says, oh, it was damaged, they're just going to argue, no, you bought it in like that. It's a different scenario. This is why I say
Wiley,
it's a
I'll tell you why you're incorrect.
Go on.
Because him in the interview admitting, if I wanted to, I could have given the refund, debunks everything you've just said.
But at the same point...
So if him saying... Excuse me, if him saying, I could have done it, and I chose not to do it, you have to think, well, why did he choose not to do it? In the interview...
Go on.
In the interview,
I'm going to answer that. Go on.
He says, because of how he was approached and how he felt.
Which goes exactly
Which
by...
goes with the point that Buddy's saying, that if you handle people in a way that... And to be fair, let's make it real, and I'll make it relatable to how I deal with things. Certain times, if I need something from you, I'm going to lure you down the alleyway. I'm going to throw the piece of bread, attach it to a string, and slowly lure you in and get you on side. When I've got you on side, you're hooked. When you're hooked, I'm going to turn around and say, okay, so what are you going to do for me? Because I've got this 40 hair. And I really like your shop. I shop here all the time. All my friends shop here. I'm even doing a video as we speak. So, but whatever you need to do to get the person on side to say, this is how I would like to conduct business with you moving forward. However, let's not let this 1 packet or 3 packets of damaged hair disturb that.
Sorry.
This is what I'm doing. I'm getting into his head, and I'm going to make sure that I'm now going to be the puppeteer to tell you what I want you to say.
And I'm busting up, right? Because as you're saying it, I'm like, okay, let's just give it to him. Even I'm in my head, I'm relaying it instead of saying, just give it to him. Let's get him. He said he's got Relly coming. He's got Wiley coming. They're all coming down for this thing. Let me just. You're on side. It's how you deal with people. And like I said to you, it's knowing what to say, knowing the connections to say, knowing to say, oh, look, I'm filming this. I've got the eMpTy podcast, and you know what I mean, we've got X amount of viewers and X amount of people that follow us, and it's fine. I always come down here. All of a sudden, you've now got me on side. If we was on a move in our own business,
I've got the Peckham Times. They just
and the recording.
Yeah.
One second. What flight says?
So taking it on a bit further.
Come on.
That's obviously the introduction to the incident. Then from there, we go on to the altercation, the actual issue between the two of them, where she tries to leave, he tries to restrain her, and then restrain her and bring her back into the shop. And then we have the incident of the basket launching on his head, breaking, and then him going the extra mile and there's no other way to say it, defending himself by the means of strangulation to the woman.
No. By definition, that's not defending yourself. By definition, that's not self-defense.
Why? Explain.
Because, all right, so self-defense, when you're under attack, self-defense, by the definition of when you do the training or whatever, when you are under attack, you have to do something to get yourself away from that situation and then get away from it. So if he'd have pushed her and got away, that's self-defense. The minute you now start becoming violent yourself, so if you are coming and attacking me and I punch you and move away, it's self-defense. If I now start launching punches onto you, it's no longer self-defense. I'm now attacking you.
That is incorrect.
It is incorrect.
It's incorrect.
100% incorrect.
It's incorrect.
That's not the truth.
This is not the truth.
Self-defense, and you know what? I'm not a law student.
Sometimes you need to be able to disarm
The situation.
the aggressor. The aggressor.
And as long as I feel like I'm under attack,
It's no
I
hitch.
have the ability to defend. So, for
When you're
example,
under attack.
I can do self-defense for Citrus. If right now we're in a situation and you get vexed and you think, you know what, I'm going to attack him, and you start to do a spinning kick on his head,
Spinning bird kick.
I then come and punch him to the side.
I'm going to flick him in the shoulder.
If I think to myself, you're going to get up and kick him again, I can keep on licking you.
To a certain point, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, to a certain point until you can't move no more.
My point is, there's a line that's drawn in self-defense and becoming the aggressor. And what I'm saying is, when he has got her in that position where he's now moving her about and doing whatever, it's no longer self-defense. Because the opportunity, and can look
I
at
can't agree with that.
You know somebody's got away with murder recently off of a self-defense thing. Recently. That was actually like not similar to this, but you're saying the moment this happened, the moment he started moving her, that's got nothing to do with it. She licked him. At this
More
point
than
here,
once.
you do realise the first person that put the attack on was her.
Yep.
So she licked him. He now defended himself. However he seemed to defend himself, he defended himself.
So
hold
a
on.
jury
Yeah.
would have to measure, was his reaction
proportionate.
proportionate?
Well done.
Now, I would say it
Yes.
wasn't proportionate.
It wasn't.
Sorry,
Thank you very much.
You say
I
it
would
was.
I would say, for me, it was fine.
It's fine.
It was
It was okay.
It was
and
okay.
I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Because initially, this guy, I'm guessing, I don't know how tall she is, but in comparison,
Towers
he looked
over.
6'3",
Yeah.
big guy.
She's
like 5'4",
5'2". Yeah.
right? When he's holding her, one hand is clearly on her shoulder, the other hand is like the scruff of her neck, like a kid. But her arms are free. She's lending him
Broke
with
the
one
basket,
hand.
bruv.
That wasn't the first hit.
It wasn't even the first hit.
No,
The
I
basket
think the
is
basket
when
is the
basket,
third hit.
The basket is when he has her.
Sorry, is it on the? It is on our on the.
yeah.
It's on my
And
statement.
then when she lengs him with the basket, he lets go with one hand and touches his head like to say, "Am I bleeding?" In that split moment, he reacts. That reaction grabs her. One hand goes around the neck, the other one, it's a struggle. And when he clocks, and this is the thing, obviously, this is all in the heat of a moment. It's all within about 4 seconds, 3
Bruv,
seconds.
come on.
So when he's like, I've actually got my hands around her neck.
And he lets go.
He lets go of her neck and holds her
The
arms.
shoulders. Come
She's
on.
now talking to who I can only believe might be her dude. He's like, babe, he's
Yeah.
got my neck. The neck on the basket. I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? She's screaming and shouting. But the woman that was filming it, bless her, she stayed calm. And she goes, I'm filming this, I'm going to call the police, which was the right thing to do. However, it still looked crazy. Now, as Alex A3 said, I agree, this guy isn't a security guard. However, that's his business. And if that's how I feed my kids, and I've got someone coming in and saying, furthermore, I'm just going to take your stuff, forget your kids, whatever happens, happens, live your life. I'm just going to be like, Wiley said I'm not allowed to use excessive force, so please put it down. But if you're not going to put it down, I got your CCTV. Hopefully the police are going to do something. I'll see you later.
All right, so to give you...
So someone comes and they put their hand on your van. They say, let me just...
And just start splitting my tyres down.
Yeah, I'm taking the van.
All
Taking
right.
it.
So on the video,
Sorry.
to just give you a kind of understanding, in the video it shows him like frog marching her into the store. He's holding her from behind, one arm on the shoulder, one arm on like one of her arms. While they're walking in and she's obviously trying to push herself back, she then takes the basket and then does over the shoulder, I don't even know what to call that move, like samurai sword.
Slug.
Yeah.
It's called a slog.
She hit him square on the forehead with the basket.
Breaking the basket.
Breaking the basket.
I'll punch her up.
Then he reacts because the adrenaline kicks in now that he's under attack. So he now needs to defend himself, which he does by holding her, strangles her, brings her around, and then when she kind of calms down, then he grabs her two arms. At that point, she's screaming, kicking him with her leg from behind, and then talking to the woman who's recording it, saying, call the police. And then she's trying to talk to her partner on the phone, as you say, saying, babe, this guy's strangling me. And she still has the arm of the basket in her hand.
And the basket itself.
And the basket's gone.
Does she still also have the hair?
Still has the hair throughout the whole event.
So here's my question, and because I don't want to go all over, because there's more broader points, and probably this will be the final point on the whole scene itself. Was there any point in that situation where he could have gone out, left that situation, and let others guard the shop for her to be exiting? Because at the point of that video, in the video itself as well, the others he's working with are also now guarding the door.
Nah, they're not on smoke though.
They're not on smoke.
They're not on smoke.
Let's just be real, bro.
No, that wasn't my question. To be respectfully, that wasn't my question. My question was...
Could he manage the situation differently?
No. Was there a point where he could have left her when that whole thing was happening
and done what?
And disengaged, and the other people at the door could have stopped her from escaping?
No.
I mean, he could have, but I wouldn't. I'm not. So this person's trying to thief, and you're going to say to me, leave her alone. Because I put my hand on her neck.
Let's really deal with it.
No, that's fine.
And then Sirelli's like, I don't get paid enough for this.
No.
Let's her walk out.
She walks out.
And I'm like, Sirelli, why didn't you stop her? And Sirelli's like, bro, you had her when you let go. I thought it was okay.
That's fine.
Your
Not
face,
now, bro.
After you got slapped to the boat with a shopping basket.
Yeah, 9.90. You want me to
get...
That's fine.
For 9.90.
That's
And
fine.
then you're going to tell me to come to work tomorrow. Get out of here.
That's fine. But in answer to my question, there was a point where he could have let go.
I've got to come to work tomorrow. My lip is doing
Buddy, was there a chance where he could have let go? Was there any point in that altercation?
No.
There was no opportunity for him to let go?
She would have boxed with it.
No. That's not what. We're adding
There was
variables.
There was no opportunity for him to let her go.
Sorry, we're adding variables that I'm not
Wiley,
asking about. I'm talking
answer
about
is
the
no.
assault.
No,
You've already said yes in the assault.
It's
So
not,
you
it's
say
not, no, it's not assault. Who assaulted who?
In the altercation,
Who assaulted who?
one second. In the altercation, you just said that he could have let her go, but it was right he didn't let her go because then she could have bopped out. That's what you just said, bruv.
Okay, so why? What's the point in letting her go? What's the aim to your question?
Right, I'm talking about the physical altercation, not about the scene of the thing.
However, if he let her go,
Yeah.
what's the point? I'm trying to understand
What's the
why
point?
you said that.
To not engage further in the violence.
She just boxed him in the face. He held her for boxing him in the face. You're now saying he should let go so she can walk out with his good
boxed you in the face.
and a box in the face.
No.
That's a win.
No.
If she done that,
No,
winner.
No. She boxed him. He was frog marching her.
The thing is, this
before
ain't
she hit
box,
him
it
with
was
the thing.
basketed, didn't it? She basketed him in the face.
He's frog marching her before she hits him.
If you watch the first
I'm
video,
watching it right now, bro.
No, not that one. There's another video before
watch
that
the
one.
video of the CCTV at the door. she hits him then.
Yeah, she does.
And
let's not do.
No.
No, do you know what?
Go on, she's in
My
the wrong.
short answer.
She's in the wrong.
My short answer is she started the violence, right? He responded. She retaliated with his response by hitting him with a basket. He then responded, and that response looks like it was overzealous.
But it wasn't overzealous from what your perspective was.
I'm saying I would have done the same thing.
Or worse.
So
Buddy.
me and him are standing. I'm going to finish.
Go on.
Me and him are standing side by side in the dock because if you box me in the face in my shop with my things, telling me you're going to walk out in my rhythm. So look at
I'm taking your
look
vote.
at Jay. So Jay,
Jay's thinking, you come in here,
I'm gonna
take
pick up
one
a
of my
camera and
and
then leg him in the mouth. He puts me in a headlock, and then I say, "Yo, let me go." He's like, "All right, then," and then I walk out
with the camera.
And then he lets me, let me through the security doors,
No,
please,
it's a
bro.
move we could do now, yeah?
If that
I'm
happens,
turning around and saying, I, in that situation, am not letting woman,
You're not
man,
letting anyone
child,
go.
I'm not letting you go. Call the police. I'm going to restrain them here until the police arrive.
Okay, buddy.
That's what's happening.
In full agreement.
In my
All
situation.
right, so
Okay.
now,
Sirelli.
I do
Let her
not
go.
agree.
Let her go.
So, first of all,
When you open your shop, I'm coming, yeah?
I agree with Citrus on she is wrong. Categorically wrong. However, he lost control at the point of strangulation. It was defense.
For how many seconds?
However, it doesn't matter how many seconds. A bullet takes 1 second to go through your chest.
When a bullet go.
It doesn't matter.
When a bullet.
The time is irrespective. He lost control. At the point where he grabs her around the neck and you hear that was the point of you didn't need to do that.
Okay, so
Now,
in
don't
real
get me
time,
wrong,
no,
you're
in real
right.
time, talk to me. In real time, how quick did all of this take place? In real time?
Citrus, you're absolutely right. I would say from start to finish, that was a 3 second.
Not from start to finish.
No,
from
I'm saying when-
from
from box
basket
to
box to strangulation.
2.5 seconds, 3 seconds.
It went
3 seconds.
It went three- she
You
would've
couldn't even
passed
count.
out.
Yeah, you couldn't even count to 3.
No, I'm saying the whole
couldn't-
incident
No,
from
no.
the box
So the
to
box-
then strangling.
How
to
long
letting
was he
go.
strangling her for?
Oh no, the strangling her was seconds.
Seconds
wasn't
or
seconds.
second?
Yeah. Even when you're watching video, you
I'm
have to slow it down.
I'm counting 3 seconds before he lets
Yeah,
go.
we've got Mr. Bum
I'm
here
watching it on the
watching.
loop. I'm
Yeah.
counting
Okay.
3 seconds at least before he lets
All
go.
right, so
Go on.
I would say, in all fairness, maybe 2 seconds.
One
Blah,
Mississippi,
blah, yeah.
2 Mississippi.
She couldn't speak. She
three
couldn't speak. She couldn't
Mississippi.
speak. She couldn't speak. She gave you that.
So
One second, one second.
go on.
So,
Go on.
So
I would like Jay's opinion.
wait,
One
before
second.
Jay kicks
Finish
in.
what you're saying, and then we'll go to there. Yeah, go on.
For me, that was excessive force. There was no, it's a flipping 20, 30 pound hair weave, whatever the case may be.
Get the out of here.
Okay.
That was excessive.
For two,
You're
2
right,
seconds,
it's your
2
shop.
2 seconds
and
strangulation.
emotionally, you're attached to the shop. She's already given you her.
It's not attached to the shop. I own it.
Yeah. So
a
he's
massive
got an
difference.
investment. So he's attached. What I mean is, when we were in retail, if somebody was doing that,
No,
we would
because
do-
you work for someone. When you're,
we
when it's
would
your
do
ownership,
what we were doing and we would try to stop them. However, ain't nobody running down the road behind nobody. Ain't nobody physically. How many people did you restrain physically when you worked for someone?
because you're working for somebody. If
I'm
you're-
not asking you,
But
brother.
if it's
I'm not
your
asking you,
ownership,
brother.
bruv, it's different.
Citrus, how many people did you physically restrain?
Do you know? Probably around 5 or 6.
And if they had given you that lick in the head with the basket,
I'll be in jail. But this that's my temperament. So, and I was much younger then. But I want to talk to Jay. Jay,
someone come and thief one of your.
we're coming here.
cameras.
I said, brother, this camera is shit. Let me just take this one. You say no, and then I pick the camera up.
Nah, Citrus, you got it wrong. We come here, we say the recording was shit. We're taking the
camera and going
bopping.
home.
Yeah.
Because we need to fix it or whatever. I don't know.
Well, go on, Jay. Everyone say good evening to Jay.
I don't even know where to start. I don't even.
You have an idea, though.
Jay's like, which camera are you taking?
Are you strangling, man?
The thing is, you're
Woman.
saying the strangulation was excessive force, or wasn't the basket excessive force?
Yeah, it was.
So,
It was.
so when you go over the line, you can't tell someone else where to stop.
I agree with you because and if you go back a couple of weeks, my whole thing
Jay
was
might
about.
get this
My
week.
whole thing was about.
Jay's on this side of the room, innit?
My whole thing was about reactions. You can't judge someone's reactions, but I'm not talking about judging it on my level. I'm talking about judging it on the actual morality of what is right and wrong. Nothing to do with what I think is right or wrong. Ultimately, I may think, you know what, his reaction was proportionate, as some have said. I may think his reaction was unproportionate. That is my subjective view. But objectively, someone's going to have an objective view to say, you know what, it's proportionate, it's not proportionate. And ultimately, it's not down to whether or not I've got a high threshold of pain or whatever. It's what is proportionate. And in what is viewed and judging by the reaction of people, and we're going to get to that, that's the next stage. I don't want to lose track of everything. The reaction of people, that is where the viewpoint of it being unproportionate was.
Do you remember when?
Buddy.
Do you remember when Julius Francis knocked out that guy? After when he was a bouncer.
Yep.
And he knocked him out.
Yep.
Was that proportionate?
Disproportionate.
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 Bus
100%.
case, though.
That was intent.
Let me tell you why it was disproportionate.
Case, though.
No. Let me tell you why it was disproportionate. It doesn't matter. Let me tell you why.
But
why,
in bus case.
But it doesn't.
Let him finish. Let him go.
Please. Let me tell you why it was disproportionate. For a couple of reasons. The guy had already circled round and was hyping, and then been hyping to all the various people. When he went towards Julius Francis, and the thing is, the reason why it wasn't a legal case, because obviously, under the terms of the law, you could look at that and say, was he coming to attack him or not? The guy was hyping with his what. The reason why I say it was disproportionate is the level of force that was applied. The guy wasn't.
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Sorry.
Are you okay?
Sorry.
Are you drinking, or is that the drink? Or
No, carry
yeah.
on, carry on.
So the level of force that was applied. So if you're going to apply a punch, or you're going to apply something where you're going to use that level of force in a punch on somebody, and it's a clean punch, and you're a former boxer, you know your skill level of what you're throwing. So if you're throwing a punch like that, if the man now dropped down and died, which is a very real situation that could have happened, he ain't busting no case, brother.
But he did.
If the guy had died, he's not busting no case.
But he busted the GBH card.
But
He
if the
busted all of
guy
that.
had died, they wouldn't look at it as, oh, it was just self-defense, because they would look at it, actually, was the level of force you did sufficient enough that the punch you threw as a former trained boxer was enough to kill somebody? And if someone dies from that, it's not going to be a case of...
So in the eyes of the law, it wasn't nothing.
Excessive.
It wasn't excessive.
Yeah.
So we got down to 2 seconds, yeah? 2 second strangulation was excessive.
Who agreed
So
2 seconds?
Reddy said it was 2 seconds.
No,
You
he
it
said
was
3. You both said
No.
it was 2, but you ain't watching the video.
You said it was 3. He said it was 2. We can replay this.
Yeah,
It's
please
fine.
do.
All right.
Do you know what? 2 seconds, 3 seconds, it's irrelevant.
That
At the end
was
of the
worse
day-
than was worse than the punch in the face that knocked him out and he was
From a
unconscious.
professional boxer.
From a professional boxer.
Yeah, who's trained with an SIA badge. So, at the end of the day, do you know when you let's not take it down the wrong route in it.
Yeah,
because
please.
This weren't the conversation. The conversation, in my opinion, and this is what I mentioned at the beginning, was about the position of power and perceived power. Now, I saw a post by a young lady, and crazy thing, she don't even have many followers. There's only about 70, 80 people that had commented on her post, but I thought it was really powerful. And she said the amount of time she goes into these establishments and she feels under threat, as in she feels like she's being observed, she's being followed around, and all she's really trying to do is buy products that she needs for her hair and her children's hair. And I was like, okay. And she was like, in no other shop that she goes in does she feel the same level of pressure.
And I can actually vouch for that. I went into one maybe 3 weeks ago in East London, and it was the same thing. The guy was shadowing me literally like he was my shadow.
And I can appreciate these shops must take a hell of a loss through theft and whatever else. However, it doesn't necessarily warrant the intimidation level that the consumer feels.
But in all fairness, I think that, I definitely know when I was in retail many moons ago, that was the training we got. And I don't know if that's what you got, in the sense of we never got trained to say, stop them or to interject or anything. It was always, if you see them and you think that they may be...
Make them feel uncomfortable.
Make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Ask them, can I help you? And repetitively ask them and be in their, almost like be in their face. So establishments have something to answer in regards to that as well. And that's, I don't know if it's still the same thing now, and maybe if somebody's in retail, they can tell us. But when I was in retail, that's what it was. If you suspect somebody's going to steal or rob the establishment, you ask them, can you help them? You stay around them. You make them feel uncomfortable so that they don't have the opportunity to do it.
See, whilst I agree with what Citra said, when you go to these places, like, I'm a big ass man. I ain't coming in there to steal any product.
No.
Yeah,
That's irrelevant. What you're saying is irrelevant.
No,
Yeah.
but however, I'm now walking around, all right, and there's a you're, like, walking behind me. Why are you walking behind me? I'm cool. I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get. I've come into your shop plenty of times before. I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get, and I'm gonna walk out. Now they walk around, and I agree with you. They do that, but then I also feel to myself that they do it for their protection. And that's fine, and I understand it. Like, because like you said before, there's so many people that come in there and they steal. Like, there's probably somebody that looks like me, all right, that's walked in there before and stolen something. So at the end of the day, do I blame them for doing it? No, I understand it. And you know when you got to look to yourself and think to yourself, you know what? If this was my establishment, would I not want my employees sitting there going, walk behind him, he might steal something. Walk behind that one, he might steal something. Or just make sure you're observant of the people that are inside of the shop. Make sure there's not, like, it's like when they turn and say there's only a certain amount of school kids that are allowed in the shop. Because they know to themselves school kids do it. But then it's not to say, oh, your son, my son is going to be the ones that are inside of shops stealing because we haven't brought up our sons.
But you have no way to control that.
But so I feel a bit you might feel a bit upset to say, why are you saying my child can't go into the shop? He's not a thief. You know what I mean? But at the same side of it, you've got no way to control the other people that are children that are going inside the shops and stealing. So at that point, they're saying only 2 people in the shop, only 2 children in the shop.
But is that, and I know we're going to go a little bit off track on that, but does that affect your human right? If it doesn't, then what's the problem?
Because, I tell you what, as a child, when I was growing up, it did kind of, I haven't stolen nothing. I've never stolen nothing.
How is it affecting your human right?
Because it's ageism. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, why are you being...
It doesn't say if you're below this age, it says 2 kids allowed in the shop at the same time.
Yeah,
it
so
could be health and safety reasons. He could say the shop is small
But 10 of you guys who are all older walk into the shop. Doesn't matter because you lot are older, all right, it allows you lot to go to shop. But me, as a school child, I'm not allowed in there because me, Jay, and Tongo were trying to walk in there. And because we're the school kids, it's like...
Tongo ain't
He's
your
never
year
been a school kid.
Shout out to Tongo, who's just joined on as well. Literally.
Timing. Because us 3 are school kids, you're now saying that we can't go in there. So for me, you're saying, does it change my rights? It does, because at the end of the day, there's 2 ginger beers left. There's 2 ginger beers left. On the thing, I came there first.
You just sound like a privileged
I'm standing
child.
there. No, 1 second, really. I'm standing there wanting to get the last 2 ginger beers that are there, and then you lot walk in there because you lot are adults. You're not allowed to walk in there and just go, "Hey, I wanted a ginger beer. Take my ginger beer," and I don't get it. So now I'm upset. I'm thinking, well, why did you stop me from going in there in the first place? Oh, because people that are your age aren't allowed into there. So now, taking it away from age, and I know I'm using age, but I'm deliberately using that instead of colour, all right, or race or anything like that, because I feel to myself, those are the things that are being used against us to say, oh, you can't do those type of things. You can't go in there and you can't do this, you can't do that. And they're used as stereotypes.
So what you're saying is, because of your uncomfortability of me saying 2 kids, I should make myself exposed to the opportunity or the potential of being robbed. Bruv, you just sound like a privileged, spoiled brat.
No, I started off saying, I understand why they do it. And I said to you, I understand it because of the fact that if they have to do it to protect themselves, like I said, I started the conversation, the statement of saying, as a big man now, as a big grown-ass man now, and they walk around and go, let me follow him and see what he's doing. I'm thinking, brethren, I'm a big man. I'm not stealing from your shop. I ain't got time for that, all right? I'm not going to do that. But I understand why they do it because at the end of the day, somebody that looks like me, black, freaking my age group, maybe younger, whatever, I don't know, all right, is coming in here and they're stealing stuff from you. So now you feel the point of to say, you know, I'm going to follow you around the shop. So I've got to accept that. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
You have to understand, you run a business. If, for example, there is a block where there's loads of exits, loads of exits, one way in. And when you go in, you have to reverse out. You can't drive around, you can't do a U-turn, you have to reverse out. And you get jobs for this place. And the last 7 jobs you've got for here, every time the job is finished, something happens to your van. Somebody thieves a radio, or someone stings you and don't pay you. You are now going to do anything you can to protect yourself once you get a job in that area. All right? You're going to say, you know what? I'm not driving to the state. Now, the customer's going to be like, well, I'm not going to rob you. Just drive down and drop my things down there. And you're like, well, yeah, you may not do it, but the last 7 will do it. So you're now punishing them for previous sins of whoever it is. It may be something that they don't pay you, whatever the case may be. Once you get into a situation where you feel like you've been taken advantage of or you've experienced something and it's happened repetitively, you will do everything within your power to protect yourself. That's human nature. Now, when they come round and they follow me around, the same way they've been trained to make me feel uncomfortable is the same way I'm going to reverse that on them. You're right there. I'm going to go around there. You want to follow me around? I'm going to make you aware of what you're doing. I'm going to make you aware that this is a transaction that's going to happen on my terms. So if there's something I want, I'm going to ask you, where is this? You take me. If I'm just browsing, I'm going to make you work. So I'm looking for this product. Or maybe I'm just going to say, I'm just browsing, walking around. What should I buy? Whatever it is, I'm going to take control of that situation. But that's my personality. That's how I would handle it. Now, I can't talk for all the shops and how they train their staff and what they tell them to do. However, if I've got a business and I got to protect my business, I will do what I can. Be it may, only 2 kids in the lad at the same time. Be it may, I tell my staff, whenever anybody comes in, follow them around, ask them what they want, try to give it to them and get them to the till as quick as possible. Whatever the case may be, I'll take it for you. Is this what you want? All right, I'll put it behind the till. When you're ready to pay, go behind. Wait, what else do you want? You want this? This one? This one? I'll put it behind the till. It happens in big stores. You go to JD's, Foot Locker, or any of those things, they don't give you the trainers. It's behind the till. When you're ready to pay, go behind the till. So I don't see anything wrong with that. It's how you receive that. Now, you're in full control. As Citrus is saying, it's a perception of power. If you're going to make yourself the victim and stand there and be like, why are you following me, though? I ain't going to thief nothing, though. Just leave me alone. Then you're making yourself that victim, and it's in your mind. Now, taking it back to the woman and the situation and whatnot, I personally feel that was excessive. You may disagree, that's fine. Everybody's got their right to do. I look at it as, Citrus did say, perception of power. He was in a position of having that power. He's a big, strong, strapping male guy. She's a small... Now, don't get me wrong. This is just my perception. She could know jiu-jitsu and bust his ass and put him on the floor. I do not know. However, at that precise moment, he did not need to exert that much force on her. That's my perception. And when I look at it from, if we want to throw the race card in there and all this kind of stuff, would he have done that to a woman of Caucasian color or another Indian woman? I don't think he would have. Personally.
Right. Sorry, I got to pause you there.
I don't think he would have.
But would an Asian woman or a Caucasian woman, all right, have done acted the same way?
It's
that
very
the black
possible.
woman would have done?
It's very possible. Anybody from any race, any color could have done the exact same thing.
And you honestly believe that?
Yes, I believe that.
So I want to navigate the conversation a bit further forward. So the next day, 2:00 in the afternoon,
Yes.
200 plus people turned up
and protested.
and protests closing this business for that day, and I don't know if it opened the subsequent
It's not been
days.
open since.
Should have just given her the £2.50 freaking hair, whatever the cost of the hair was,
Well,
because you've
well,
now
not-
lost out on whatever business
not
you've made.
necessarily, because that's short-sighted.
Short-term.
Do you know what I mean? We have to
Yeah.
think long sighted.
Because if you believe in what you believe in, you're going to stand up for what you believe in.
Right.
Yeah.
So the other side of the coin is, okay, now a stance has been made. The man's business has opened up. Cool. What happens in 2 weeks?
This was the conversation that I found was interesting, because you touched on it earlier about and Buddy touched on it about people complaining about going to certain establishments and how they perceive they're treated by going to these establishments. So it's now created a groundswell of conversation of, as you said earlier, we had to support our own and build our own and so on and so forth. This has been the groundswell of conversation. What I find interesting, though, is that there's a lot of talk about that, but I'm not seeing anything in terms of a plan. So it's good that people are sending out these bits of information about these stores, but what is the plan?
So
Or what's the benefit? Or what's the result at the end of it, innit?
No.
What is the
plan?
aim?
That is the
and
right.
what is the plan?
That's the right question.
If-
Now,
if you, sorry, I was very
Go on.
quickly. If you remember when H&M had the T-shirt, the monkey
Monkey
The
T-shirt,
monkey
Yeah.
T-shirt. I haven't shopped in there since.
You see that there? Now, the funny thing is, the plan was to hit them in the pocket. The plan was to hit them in the pocket. And it has hit them in the pocket. Now, whether or not people go there or have gone back there or haven't gone back there, are some people who don't even fully remember what the story was. But oh, no, they're racist because of this, that, and the other. Some people don't buy Tommy Hilfiger stuff because of an alleged comment he made. And racist, whatever. That's but the point of the matter is, the plan was hit them in the pocket, do whatever. As has been said, though, what is the plan going forward for this scenario?
So with that, I think it's really,
there's 2 points to it, though.
I think it's really interesting. And one of the things that I said, which I'd love to see, we in the UK, we do not have, in my opinion, enough moguls.
Black moguls.
Black moguls that represent the community.
Black ballers. Because to be a mogul, you've got to be able to influence and be in a position of power.
And there's certain people that can influence, but moguls, I don't know, I think it's slightly higher than just an influencer, in my opinion.
Okay.
Being a mogul, you can influence, but I think moguls itself. So I'm turning around and saying, okay, who's name each one of you, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to think of a black person in the UK in a position of influence as a mini mogul.
Mini mogul.
Yeah?
The guy from Star Wars, the black guy.
Yeah, I was going to say him as well.
I can't remember his name.
Idris.
So you don't know his name?
I can't remember his name.
So then therefore, how far is he a
Idris
mogul?
is a good one.
Idris and Stormzy.
Idris, I'll take that.
Army ringtones. The guy that ran, I can't remember his name, and it's annoying me because I actually know him.
Ade.
No, it's, I can't remember his name, and I actually know him as well, and that's annoying.
What's the guy
Can't
from
know him that well.
Nope? You know that film Nope? And
Nope.
he's also in the
Is he English?
yeah, he's English. He's
Why,
also
why don't you know his name?
in Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't know his name.
But so far we've only named actors. So let's think more deep in
I don't know,
business wise.
Stormzy, music. I'll use music.
Is it
after that.
Stormzy? Okay, I'll accept Stormzy.
Yeah, Stormzy.
My two.
Who
There
else?
you go.
There's a guy that is it Obu?
It's crazy that none of it. Wiley didn't even mention his cousin, but it's crazy
I
that
wouldn't call him a mogul, though.
of course he's a mogul. Of course he's a
he's
mogul.
got a-
Of
he's got a-
course, no.
Go on.
Of course he's a mogul. In his circle, he's a mogul. Right.
Yeah.
So what I would
plug in,
say is it's crazy that we are struggling to answer this question.
There's a tech guy in America. That young black guy.
Is he English?
No,
The
it's
MT
American.
podcast.
Who are the Who are the influencers that can affect direct change?
But I'm surprised you're not calling out more sports people. You know, I'm actually disappointed in you, brother.
No, because they're not all.
One second, Jay.
Because people say
Akala,
Rashford, Sterling.
he's talking. Akala, I'll accept Akala. I like Akala as well.
You could do Rashford and Sterling.
Rashford,
Joshua.
Sterling, Joshua.
Antonio Joshua.
Okay, so now we're getting it's getting closer.
You can
But
use that.
if you think to yourself about moguls, and the reason why I'm harping on this point is, if you think to yourself about those who can affect change, right? If we all grouped together and said, you know what, in a pot, we're going to raise £500,000. Let's go. GoFundMe page. £500,000, let's go. Do you know why? Because there's a supermarket that's closing down. We're going to buy that premises. In the premises, we're going to only store black hair products that we buy. So not only is it our products, we're going to own it, and we're gonna support it as a unit. Weirdly enough, coming to the podcast studio today, Buddy and I saw some dude outside selling fancies. Now these fancies, I should say, were whiskey, chocolates, wine, like luxuriously packaged fruits. It looked like, you know, the bouquets that come in the cellophane,
Like the hamper basket kind of thing.
like a hamper basket, right? 100 to 200 pounds from a kosher. The name was Kosher Greenleaf or something like that.
Well done.
Seeing it, it was like, wait a minute, this is a Jewish company because it's got kosher in the title. Cool. And they are supplying to a Jewish customer, which is just around the corner. So I was like, rah, this looks good. Do you know what? They're not looking around to say, rah, who are the Jewish moguls that are offering this? No. They have their own insulated service that they're going to make sure we're going to support each other. Because we are not necessarily in a position to do the same, to be able to have a direct reaction to this action, what movement are we going to affect to make change happen?
The funny thing is,
So,
you saying that.
So there are establishments that are already open that could take some of the pressure,
Yep,
which is fine. And I hope these establishments all see a significant increase in
revenue.
traffic and revenue, right? That would be great. However, long term, what we say long term, why don't we open our own thing, the Empty Podcast Hair Shop? We're going to open it in the 5
Because
major
we're all
black...
barlids.
All barlids. We're going to...
All barlids.
Well,
All we can sell is Vaseline.
I'm not a valid,
Vaseline and beard extensions. Yeah.
I got
But-
hair. Thanks.
Buddy's got head. All right, cool. Safe to Buddy. But I'm going to
And
turn...
Dax.
and that. And stay soft roll. But it's all right. It's all right. Pink moisturizer.
And black paint. Black spray cans.
It's fine. We're just for men. It's fine. We've got all the varieties. But the point is, you turn around and as the mogul or the influencer or the circle of influence, you turn around and say, do you know what? Off the back of this, we're going to open 5 shops in 5 prominent areas to ensure North, East, South, West, Birmingham, Manchester, Bristol. I don't know. I'm shooting at the moment. And we're going to open all these stores and promote them to say, do you know what? From this point on, this is where we need to shop.
I like that.
And we need to consciously shop at this shop.
Did you see a program that happened, I don't know, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, where they were talking about the hair industry, how it's worth how many billions in the UK?
Who is...
I think it was the BBC that done it. I can't remember.
There's been a couple.
And then they were saying...
There's a big one in America.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Chris Rock did one.
Chris Rock
Yeah,
did one,
good hair.
And then they were saying about how all
I
these...
think the hair industry is something like 6 billion.
Yeah, it's some big...
and
It's
something
billions.
like 5 billion
Yeah,
is
it's billion.
black
hair
females.
product,
Yeah.
So they were saying, basically, not to go into like the nitty-gritty detail because I don't remember it, but all in all, that well-known shop with the green sign outside, I'm not even calling their name no more, they have, as you said,
The shelves are really packed.
the shelves are really packed, very dense, 28 stores. They buy in bulk. They buy pallet full of one product. And then that gets distributed between the stores. Now, the stores may not be owned by the same person. However, they come together collectively to buy it. So their buying power is very, very, very strong. So they approached one independent store and they kind of compared and said, this store with a green sign is selling Vaseline tonic hair for $5.99. You're selling it for $8.99. Why is your price so much higher? And they said, because we physically
Cannot
sell
purchase it at the same...
So they've stifled the
at
market.
the same
So-
wholesale rate.
So they've now got this chokehold over this industry. They've got the monopoly
Pardon
over
the
it.
pun.
And in all industries, that if you want to
Chokehold.
dominate it, it is a choke. See, boom, boom. I'm glad you got it. See, Such is the only one here, you know.
No.
You got it as
Go
well?
on, boom is first.
Beard, go on, beard.
Go on.
So it has a big impact behind the scenes that we don't see. Now, little Auntie Susu, who opened a store in Finchley Park, who wants to sell these products, who's got half the shelf space, can only stock 10 of each item. When she goes to the wholesalers and she's like, I can't afford to buy a pallet, I'm buying it on... It's almost like I'm buying it retail to sell retail.
I feel like you're making me look enough ignorant, but are we not just talking 101? This is business. You know what I mean? At the end of the day,
No.
It is business,
Buying,
bruv.
bruv, seriously. You're talking like somebody who doesn't know what's going on in the real world out there.
You know
Buying
what?
power is a big
I'm not
thing.
saying that you're
But it's
wrong,
business.
but it's business.
business.
And this is the thing I wanted to touch on too. Is there anything wrong with people jumping into an untouched market, seeing that market hasn't been
Seeing a
touched,
gap in the market.
a gap in there,
And monopolising.
and then doing what they can to make whatever they can from it?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. But in every industry, especially in major cities, there is a monopoly, there is a gang of some sort. Brother, I was talking to a guy who owns an ice cream truck. And he was telling me that this is one of the biggest mafia circle things going on.
Yeah.
You can't just go out
can't go in
and
certain
buy
roads.
a ice cream truck and then say you're going to go park
There
outside.
was a very big crime.
Syndicate kind of
around
thing.
it, yeah.
Yeah, them man, they're all paying each other and you got to pay for protection. I'm
People
like,
all got killed over
yeah,
it.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's not a
for
joke.
ice,
It's not a
Mr.
joke.
Mr. Softy.
It's not a joke.
And they're like,
Ain't too soft.
bruv, and it's not even a joke. It happens in big business, in construction.
It happens.
It's everywhere.
It happens in the tech world. I was doing a course about GDPR, and what they were saying was that what Google does, Google buys a lot of small tech companies to ensure that when they buy them, the customers, the marketing, all the people they can get access to is bought up with it. So when they're buying this little computer company that has about maybe 4 or 5 stores, it's not the company they're after, it's the
information.
marketing, the information, and they use that for their big business. So when you're seeing all these smaller companies and shops and whatever being swallowed up by these bigger ones, that is the reason why. But that is business.
It's business, bro.
So is it? I mean, the kickback that's come from this whole situation has been about trying to change how the business model is.
No, I don't agree with you. Because there's one part that it is business, and there's another part to say, do you consciously spend your money? Now,
And do you spend it conveniently or do you spend it
consciously?
Consciously.
So if you spend your money conveniently, that's the guy at the shop in the corner. If that guy at the shop in the corner isn't part of your community, then he's getting your money because it's
10 pence cheaper.
Yeah, because it's convenient.
Or it's round the corner.
Or it's around the corner. However, if the guy, a bus ride away, like I have to take the bus because there's no parking outside of his shop, and blah blah blah. So now it's getting a bus, not jumping in my car, so inconvenient, spending a little bit more. Are you making that choice?
Nope.
Consciously.
Right.
So and the thing is, you say no, but I disagree with you.
I ain't doing it.
So I went to Bohemian Place in Hackney, where they've got the black market.
Please
And-
tell, for those who don't know, please give us a little bit of...
it's in Hackney next to the bus garage by Mayor Street.
Central Hackney.
Hackney Central, yeah.
Thank you.
And I went there. And
When is it?
It's
Sunday.
It's
on a Saturday, isn't it?
It's the
That's
last
EA, innit?
Saturday of every month.
every month.
So it's once a month.
So I went in there and purposely took cash. Because I said to myself, you know what? I want to make sure that these people know I'm spending my money. And I know it sounds so
Don't
mad.
lie, man. Your bed is uncomfortable. Enough cash underneath your mattress.
I
You
wish.
just need to take some of that and make it level.
And
innit?
level it out.
Hey, Jay,
Bruh.
you hearing this, yeah? His mattress is lumpy, so he needed to spend some of those 50s.
All right.
Don't
right.
up our fees though, please.
But the crazy thing is that I went in there and I had conversations with them and said, listen, I like this. I'm buying this from you. Buddy and I went to Ascot, not last year, the year before, went into a black-owned hair shop
was gonna
and
mention
bought a
that
fan. The fan was something like £19 for a fan.
You got bumped.
However,
I'd have
This
sold it
is
for
when
10.
business was working good though.
yeah.
We was
now that's buying rest.
No. Jokes aside,
But
because I want to touch into what
It
you
was
just said.
£19, but
now,
I turned around and said to the woman, like, we want to support you. But we were looking around the shop to say, what can I actually buy?
That's cheap
to
enough.
support.
No, just to support you. Like myself and my ex, over Christmas last year, went to get a present for her from my daughter. And was like, well, what can we get? Went into the same said shop. So you're going to have to find something in this, because this is where I want to spend my money. I'm consciously spending money in this shop. There are other shops that have items that are cheaper and probably more desirable in the moment, but we spent time to buy in this establishment. And then the woman who owned the establishment was like, thank you so much. Like, weirdly enough, the eMpTy podcast comes to a place, extortionate prices, customer services is meh. Do you know?
But supporting the black business, right? supporting the black business, yeah?
The business, we're going to pay a little bit more. Because, do you know why? Because consciously we're turning around and saying, within ourselves, we're going to do that. The tops that we're wearing, we're buying it off someone that's in our community. Is he the cheapest? No. He's not the cheapest, but consciously we're making these decisions. Now, if you can cascade that through everything, I'm talking your mobile phone provider, your energy bills, whoever you're renting from if you don't own your property. If we took it to that kind of, not cellular level, but that type of level and focused on it, you would see the level of uprising.
You know why they do it.
Why they do it?
Yeah, that's not fair. But
It doesn't help.
No, he says he doesn't see how it helps. So let's help him see it, because there's someone watching this that agrees with him. So I'm going to help you out.
I hope not.
So no, it's very true. So just before lockdown, and this is something that I think I'm going to focus on setting up and establishing for next year. But just before lockdown, I was in a group, right? And it's a group of just black men who earned over 50K a year, right? As a WhatsApp group.
So to get in, you had to earn 50 grand.
This was the criteria. You didn't have to prove it.
No, but yeah.
That's this what their requirement was. However, every month they would pick a business and storm it, but they wouldn't tell the business owner. So all that would happen one day in Wiley's beard shop.
Everybody's come and sit down and get the full works.
100 people are turning up. Wiley's like, what's going on? All of a sudden, Wiley's annual take-in has been made on this one day because everyone turned around and said, I'm going to bring my £50 and spend it in your shop. I don't know what, why, how, but I'm going to put my money in your till. And then after, they would interview Wiley and say, yo, Wiley, what did you think about that? What has this done for you? Now, what I loved about it, because I went on maybe 3 or 4, but what I loved about it was that when you spoke to the shop owner, and there was a woman, and unfortunately her business accidentally closed down, which wasn't under her control, like landlords doing madness. It was a plant shop. When I turned up, there must have been like 200 people standing outside the shop from all races, right? She's opening the shop, nervous, not knowing what's going on. This man walks up to her, put his arm around her shoulder, said, listen, we're here to support you. They cleaned out the shop. The video at the end of the shop looked like she just moved in because everything was purchased. And she turned around and said, I now don't know what to do. I've never had this amount of focus on my business. I don't know what to do. This is how much of a success it was. Now, fair enough, it was a once a month focus. Now, what I liked about it was I never knew about her shop before that day. So when you have these events, bud, and you turn around and say, let's all go and spend in one shop or let's spend consciously, by default, all you've done is made me aware that there's a brother over there that owns a shop of a product that I could purchase. So if I'm coming to this area, I'm going to go to his or her shop and buy from their shop because I now know it's there. And my awareness
I don't disagree with that.
Is now raised. But without the event, I would have never have known of her shop. I would have known of the...
And it's a brilliant movement.
I would have known, like, there's a guy on Cambridge Heath Road in Bethnal Green, E2, who owns a tyre shop, right? He's a Nigerian guy, completely humble, owns a tyre shop, sells tyres. You'd never know there's not a Nigerian flag near or far. Why is like...
You're saying it like
what is
a real Nigerian humble. I'm trying to see where you're going with this, mate.
No. What I'm
You
saying...
paid in cash, though.
What I'm saying is his business is there, and we stormed his business as well. But it was like, wow, we never knew. So now, when I go and buy a tyre, not for my vans, but for my car, I go to him because now I know his business is there. The craziness is, if we're going to boycott these certain types of shops, people now don't know where to go. Some of the advice that I saw was go online. Who the hell do you think owns the website that you're buying the same flicking product from? Do you know what I mean? Let's be
Because
smart.
if you Google hair products,
who do you think's coming up first?
They don't have the algorithm to bring up
To bring you to
Dante Susu's shop.
all right.
Yeah.
So the Ghanaian shop around the corner, you're not getting it from there.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is sometimes these small little steps.
And what you've said is...
Sorry, Bubs. But the small little,
Jesus.
the small little
Sorry,
steps.
Bubs. Flipping hell. You know what the worst thing is? It's not even a woman's name. That's what we'd call a little you.
The small little steps, right, make long journeys.
And I hear your growth on what you're trying to grow when you're growing other people's business. Friends. I mean, the amount of friends that we have inside of the MT podcast that we could sort of say to ourselves, you know what, an exterior friends that we've got, like, that we could sort of say, you know what, oh, they should be promoting the podcast, or they should be promoting Citrus as a business. I have a business. Sirelli has a business. We've got businesses out there. There's certain things that we're doing in our lives right now. All right.
Wiley has a business.
No. There's certain things. No, there's certain. I don't know if I'm allowed to say whatever.
Bro,
it
his
is,
thing's right there, just in your face, bro.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say certain things. You know. So I'm like,
Bubs, behave yourself.
shut up, you now. Don't do this.
God.
All right. So anyway, I'm sitting there saying to myself, why is it that the people don't promote our stuff? Why are they not doing the same said promotion that you're sitting there saying? And this is just out of my friends, not to do with colour.
But the movement has to start from somewhere.
And that's why I said I agree with the movement that you're saying.
Jay's about to turn over the next, you know.
The one thing that I wanted to say very quickly, which I don't think I want to get lost in the whole source of it all, is we're currently in a cost of living crisis. People can't afford necessarily to say, I'm going to make the choice to be making a conscious buyer versus what my money can spend on.
Lies.
No,
I agree with you.
Lies.
Because,
I don't agree.
Let me tell you why.
agree
Let me tell you why. I deal with a lot of people. I'm not going to mention the other element of the work I do, but there are people that are in a group. You have to be a subscribed member of that group. And when I find out people are not being subscribed, when I say, why have you dropped out of whatever, the answer comes back, well, I had to look about all my costs and whatever and cut certain things according to my cloth. So it is a very real situation. We may feel it's not.
Hold on.
One second, Jay. One great point I'm just going to make, and it's probably going to back you up a little piece, Jay, all right? If I turned and said to you we could move the MT podcast to somewhere that was 50% cheaper than being here in the black-owned studio, would we not be moving? And let's be honest, 50% cheaper. Let's be honest.
That's a question that I
50%.
I don't think it's fair to answer this in front of Jay. Man's got his hands over the mute and the lock button. Let me explain that game.
the power button.
Hey, Jay.
But this is my point.
Jay, I got...
Alright. Go on, Jay. You need to be closer to the mic, though.
Yeah. Lock off Bud's mic, yeah?
So Jay, what's your
Go on,
feedback?
Jay. Tell us. Talk to us.
As a black business owner.
Well, first of all, you're making the people think our services are expensive for what we do.
Come on, man.
Very good.
First of all, yeah, which is
Very
not
good
true.
I'm good with you,
Which is
Jay.
not true.
I'm just trying to help
Very
them
good
out.
first point.
Give them angles.
Yeah, that's fine.
Very good first
But the
point.
point you were making about the podcast, like, people don't have to listen to a podcast. You're asking for them to support you in something they don't necessarily need. Right? Well, you're talking about, if you have to buy your hair, like, you know, ladies feel they have to do their hair, right? Now you're just saying make a conscious choice to buy from someone that's black for something you have to do. So if all of the ladies made a conscious choice to buy from a black-owned hair shop, maybe their prices could come down because they could start affording to buy in bigger amounts, like, to get where I'm coming from. But right now, until people make that choice, they'll never be able to lower their prices.
And you know what? I back Jay on this because I'll be honest with you, for me, it's a little bit more, ever so slightly broken, rounded off. So what I mean by that is, that big store with a green sign, everybody goes as default. That's just the norm. Yes, I support black businesses, but I'm even more to a granular level where I'm on support small businesses. So I'll give you an example. I went to buy rum, and the shop I went to go and buy my rum from, Citrus, we know this guy who works there. He's not actually black. It's a local store to where I live, walking distance. I went to go and buy a bottle of Donnelly, 12 years, whatever. And he actually said... Dawley's, thank you. And he actually said to me that you could buy it online for £10 cheaper. And I said, you know what? I'm supporting the business. So it's 45 online, you're selling it for 55, give it to me anyway. He was like, you know what? Thank you very much. He gave me a shot of some other drink and I drank it. Now, I supported it because it's in my local community and I want to see him thrive. I walk to his shop when I need a drink. I don't go to, I could probably order it online for cheaper and wait 24 hours, 48 hours to get it, but he's my local shop. When I go there, I don't just buy it, I will sit down and have a chat with him. Citrus is the same thing. He'll go there, have a little conversation. He'll give us a shot of something new that he's got. Look, this is new on the table. Try this. And we'll have a conversation. So for me, yes, I want to support the black businesses. If they're not available where I am, I will go to what I consider to be the next best thing, which is independent small stores. So for me, it's about spending wisely. Now, yes, there are times when convenience kicks in it. I need something and I need it now. If you're telling me I need to buy some oxtail and it's Sunday, I didn't buy it over the week, so I need to go to I just need this now. I'm gonna go to the Indian man store in Dalston where I know I can get it and go home and cook. I'm not gonna go to Wolfenstone to the black brother that I know that sells it there because at that particular time, it's just not convenient. So I'd be a hypocrite to say that I don't buy out of convenience. I buy petrol from a petrol station, and sometimes I go to petrol stations that I don't necessarily support. But convenience, I'm empty. I'm not gonna go drive another 4 or 5 miles
You didn't even realise.
to go and get it, brother. I'm so far ahead that you're just not with us, bruv. You're just
God.
You didn't realise.
like I said, all my things are planned, bruv. All my things are planned. But as I'm saying, for me, it's about supporting businesses that are around you, that are small. Don't think about these big corporate companies. They do not care about you. They don't.
And nor do I care about them. However,
But if you're giving them your money, you do.
One quick point that you just made that kind of sat there and thought to myself, I was nearly with you. You nearly righteous spoke me, Malcolm X style, Martin Luther King, straight to the point. I was like, yeah, you know, he's right. Yeah. Then you started to mention petrol. And I started to say to myself, well, hold a second. If there was anything, I look at every single petrol, I'm like, right, that one's the cheapest. That's the one I go to. Mm-hmm. So now if you're going to turn and say to me, it brought me back because I started thinking, if I'm not going to go find somewhere that's cheapest to buy the ginger beer, the chicken, the petrol, the tyre, I'm going to the cheapest place or the place that suits my pocket. Despite what anyone wants to sit there and say in this room, I know a lot of you extremely well, all right, to know to myself, we're going to go to the best part that suits our pocket, all right, because at the end of the day,
and yes, you can only buy what you afford, innit?
But that's the way that, as a human, this is how humans
But that doesn't work for me. For me personally, I buy on what I believe in. So if I believe that giving you my money is going to let you spill oil in the Atlantic Ocean and then pay off a government so you can get off with it, you're not getting my money. Regardless if I broke down in front of your petrol station. That's me. Ever so slightly broken. We'll leave the car there and get the ticket.
That's broken, bro.
Bruv, whatever you want to call it. For me, my morals mean more to me than that.
On that note, because we're getting very, very, very close to the end, I'm going to give it some time for everyone to have thoughts about
Morals.
Summary.
Morals.
Yeah, summary.
Morals.
What's that?
Morals.
The truth, bro.
Morals.
Man, the main breaking
Morals
down.
indeed.
Bringing it back to the thing, he was
Yes.
out of order for strangling the woman. He didn't need to go that far. She was wrong for reacting the way she did. I'm giving my summary, by the way. This is right. This is summary time, yeah?
Go on.
Yeah?
Go for it.
She was wrong for addressing the situation, as far as I can see, without knowing the full facts. So I apologize to the woman that this incident happened to. I can't hear the video. I can't hear what you said to him when you approached the store. I don't know what you actually, the interaction was. All I can go with was your body language. Your body language came across as, at first, you were calm, but then you quickly escalated to a point of power that you may or may not have had at that particular time. However, from that point, it went downhill on both parts, especially when he went to the point of strangulation. For me personally, that's my view. That was wrong. There was no need for him to carry on in that particular manner. All he should have been focused on was his product, and that should have been it. I don't believe in violence. I don't believe that's the answer. I don't believe in intimidating people to get what you want. I don't believe in bullying. So if any of those things were involved with the situation, whoever was doing it was wrong. That's my view. Next time, spend your money in a black shop.
Thank you very much, Sirelli. Citrus.
Sirelli's lying.
It's
I
your
don't
summary,
agree
bro.
with
It's your
him.
summary. It's your
I'll
summary.
beg you lock off Sirelli's mic as well, yeah?
Summary.
It's finished.
Yeah. No, okay. So my summary is sometimes we just need to take time in it. In whatever decisions we're going to make, whatever transactions we're going to make, however we're going to conduct ourselves, let's just take time. So now, and appreciate our position of power. And sometimes it's just about having a little bit more education to say how you're going to carry yourself will allow you to then conduct yourself in whatever way, wherever you want to conduct yourself. And probably get the more favorable result that you're looking for. There is a movement, and I'm glad to see that from where I've grown up from, to see that this movement has taken some form of the plight is now being recognised. I'm glad and very appreciative of it. Would I like to see it with a bit more traction? Of course. However, I'm more than happy to see something's happening because rewind back 10 or 15 years, we weren't having these conversations. So at least we're having the conversations now, and imagine in the next 10 or 15 years what these conversations will actually look like. So with that, recognize your position of power and use it gracefully.
Cool, buddy.
No, to touch on some of what Citrus said and the woman, and Sirelli said, I don't believe the man was in the wrong. I believe in just all things being equal and everybody reacting to a situation not based off of colour, all right, but just based or sexuality or you know what I mean, the fact that or sexist, sorry. Like I want it to be based off of the fact that somebody went into they had a conversation, it went wrong, you went and started picking up something out of somebody's shop or building or place of business, and you tried to take it out, which that's not legal, that's not right. You know what I mean? We went over topics and we said it earlier on when we went to, and I didn't want to bring up their company because they did to be fair to them, it was we had an amazing meal and an amazing night, but we was in Hell's Kitchen, and the way that Citrus conducted himself allowed us to get a lot off of the bill because he knew what to say. He knew how to conduct himself. Not everybody does. And it's the same thing with this lady. She's kind of gone into a shop, and I don't know what she said because, like you said, there was no mic, so we don't know what's been said or what her argument or case and points are. All right, and he knew how to conduct himself in that situation. It didn't feel as though she knew how to conduct herself in that situation because we could have just walked and said, you know what, we're not paying nothing, and walked out, and then had them sit there trying to grab us. Could have been exactly the same situation. So we're not doing that. We're walking out. You know, I mean, there was a staple in my boys' food. I'm not paying nothing. Walked out. What are they going to do? Put their hands on us? Choke us? You know what I mean? Have the same scene coming off. You know what I mean? And that's basically what's gone on here. She didn't know how to conduct herself. And this is a thing about all of us, a lot of us, including, and I put myself in that same bracket to say, sometimes I don't know what to say in certain situations. Bit emotional sometimes. I might just turn and say, you know what I mean? I might blow up and say, no, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. This is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do that. I don't care. And it's the wrong attitude to have. It's not the one that's going to get me the favourable outcome that I needed or wanted. And that's something that I think maybe from anything from the podcast, I'd hope that people realise themselves, and even from the situation, that they'll realise themselves, you know what? There are ways to conduct yourself to get the favourable outcomes that you need. You know what I mean? That's one point. In regards to the black-owned businesses and stuff like that, it's still a tough one. And Citrus is 100% right when he said, I'm glad we're having the conversations because there is something that's needed, and it's needed to be in a black studio, having a black podcast and an uprising of our people. You know what I mean? I'm never going to take that away. But I also don't really always look at things like that. I always just say to myself, you know what? It's a studio that's got a great rate and has a great product. So at the end of the day, all right, I sit there and say to myself, you're providing a service that is representable for a market rate that I can sit there and say I can be a part of. The same thing as the podcast. I don't want people to watch it because you're looking at a screen and you're seeing four black brothers behind the thing. So I'm going to support my brothers. I want you to say it's a product that I like because we're giving you lot knowledge, or we're giving you entertainment, or whatever it is that you take from the podcast, not just because of the colour of our skin. So this is why when you lot start saying things about, I'm going to go and buy petrol, for example, from more expensive petrol station because it's black owned rather than the one that's Asian owned or white owned or whatever, I disagree. I'm buying it because that's the one that fits my budget and what I need. So I don't agree with that. You know what I mean? And I sit to say, as great as we are having these conversations, and there are uprisings and things like what you said, to acknowledge other people's businesses that are around, because we've all got everybody in the room's got businesses that we want to push and we want to get to the top level, and we all should support it. But I should support it as your friend, or something that I believe that your product is great, not because I'm looking at the color of your skin and saying I'm doing it because of that reason. And that's one thing I would actually put forward on that, and I'll leave my summary from there. Wiley.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I need to, before you do your thing, nobody said nothing about no black petrol station. We said about morals. I'm just putting that one out there. Is that right, Jay? Thank you very much. Jay. Thank you.
Black,
Give you a
I
summary.
don't care.
Right then.
Can we get Jay summary? On the spot.
No promoting your business.
All right.
So we are black-owned business and we do good rates.
I think there's a way to handle things. But also, you know, if you shop somewhere, like we all know there's certain sports shops that don't do refunds. And like, let's just say people have spoken how they get treated in these type of hair shops. And, you know, if you get treated this type of way and you know they're going to be combative with you exchanging something if it's not in the right order, you kind of come in with a certain energy already. So I definitely believe people should be calm and all of that. But if you're used to people following you around the shop and all of this type of stuff, you're kind of going to come in on edge sometimes. Do you get where I'm coming from? I don't think it's right, but I think it's human nature. Rather than asking this business to donate to all these black stuff in the community, why don't we donate to other black businesses? Not donate, but just work with other black businesses. Because you know the people that went to shut the shop down, they've got demands of the business to contribute to stuff in the black community. But we don't have demands of ourselves of where we spend our money. This is a bit rich. Do you know what I mean? So we know these people don't treat us right. But what are we going to do about it? We're going to demand them to give us money. Like, you know what I mean? So I think we should take some accountability as people, like, and just help each other out. Because no one's going to help you out like your own people. Not generally. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting points of views on the podcast today. Shouts out to everyone who's been logged in. I'm going to quickly read just 2 comments that have been said. One highly blessed Josie said, listen, our people are still going to invest in the guy's business because the store is convenient to a multitude of our people. Sad but true in her opinion. And then she further goes on to say, another thing is it's all well and good us promoting more recently other black hair shop owned businesses, but a lot of our people, I find, usually state the prices in black competing establishments are too expensive. So there's a whole load of things and a multitude of different angles to look at it. I've said my perspective of the whole situation of the shop. I think that there's a lot to be done in terms of if we want to talk about having a change of direction, a change of how we want to deal with certain industries and stuff, we got to have a plan. You can't just suddenly say, oh, you're going to go out and do certain things. It's interesting. I mean, one of the things that I always say is that not every black person is the same. So while it's all well and good for us to say we would open up, I think it was Citra said earlier about get a supermarket or get a place, buy it, and then put everything in there. Who's going to be the person leading it? Is it me with my Nigerian background thinking this is the way to go forward? Is it Citrus with his St. Lucian background? Is it Buddy with his Jamaican background? Where do you then lead? What direction do you go into? And unity has to be the first point. And I don't know if we're in the position to say that we're unified to do something directly. And I think it's a bit disappointing. It takes for things to happen for our community to be unified and do things. We don't ever do it off the back of, you know what, that's a good idea. We compete with each other a lot. And I think as long as we keep competing, we're going to find difficulty in being unified. And sometimes you just got to celebrate differences. The differences you may have with each other are there for a reason. Doesn't mean that they're negative. It just means you've got to celebrate them and build each other up. But that's a whole conversation for another day. This has been the eMpTy Podcast. Thank you, everyone who's been logged on. And don't forget, if the glass ain't half full,
It's
empty.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.